Russian President Vladimir Putin officially confirmed that the Oreshnik Intermediate-Range Ballistic Missile, IRBM, has entered mass production, with at least one missile system already delivered to military units. Speaking alongside Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko during a meeting on Valam Island, Putin announced plans to complete the deployment of the Oreshnik missile system on Belarusian soil by the end of the year. Russian and Belarusian defense experts have pinpointed the launch site and are actively preparing the necessary infrastructure, emphasizing the need for robust protection measures. Putin reaffirmed that all preparations are progressing on schedule. This development signals a definitive end to Russia's previous compliance with the now-defunct INF Treaty, effectively reinstating the deployment of ground-launched missiles with ranges between 500 and 5,500 kilometers. The Oreshnik missile, also known under the designation SS-X-34, is a solid-fueled, road-mobile IRBM believed to be a derivative of the previously shelved RS-26 Rubesh missile system. Open-source intelligence estimates the missile's weight at about 40 tons, with a throw weight of no less than 1,200 kilograms, and an operational range spanning roughly 800 to 5,000 kilometers. The system is mounted on a mobile launcher chassis based on the MZKT-79291 or a modified variant, developed by the Moscow Institute of Thermal Technology with contributions from various Russian firms including Titan Barakati, FCDT Soyuz, NIAG, OKB Projektor, and Concern Sozvezhdai. Featuring a two-stage solid propellant design, the missile is believed to carry a multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle (MIRV) payload. Analysts estimate each missile can deliver up to 6 warheads, each capable of being subdivided into submunitions or decoys. The MIRV deployment could involve either a conventional post-boost vehicle or a more modern setup where individual warheads possess separate guidance and propulsion systems. The Oreshnik's combat debut occurred on November 21, 2024, when it was used to strike the Pivdemash defense factory in Dnipro, Ukraine. Launched from the Kapustin Yar test range, the missile reportedly reached speeds near Mach 11 during the roughly 15-minute flight. Prior to the strike, the United States was informed through established deconfliction channels. Sources from Ukraine and the U.S. suggested the missile carried inert warheads, and satellite imagery confirmed only minor structural damage at the target site. This attack coincided with Western intelligence warnings and the temporary closure of some embassies in Kiev due to concerns about a possible major Russian airstrike. Serial numbers linked the missile components to legacy Bulava SLBM systems, and post-strike evidence included fragments of a propulsion stage. Putin framed the strike as retaliation against Western approvals for Ukraine's use of long-range missiles like ATACMS and Storm Shadow against Russian targets. The response from Kiev was swift and strong, with President Volodymyr Zelensky condemning the attack as a clear violation of the United Nations Charter and a dangerous escalation. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz labeled the incident a serious provocation and decided against supplying Taurus cruise missiles to Ukraine to avoid further tension. NATO's Ukraine Council described the strike as an attempt to intimidate civilians and deter Western support for Kiev. International analysts and media outlets including The Economist and the Institute for the Study of War interpreted the launch as part of a broader Russian psychological warfare campaign aimed at raising the political cost of Western backing for Ukraine. Experts from institutions like the Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS, noted that employing MIRV technology with conventional warheads is unusual due to accuracy constraints and operational expenses. They also pointed out that the missile's flight trajectory and terminal approach make interception by Ukraine's missile defense systems highly challenging. Military analysts such as Maxim Starchak and Jeffrey Lewis agreed that the Oreshnik system mainly repurposes legacy Soviet and Russian technologies rather than introducing cutting-edge innovations. Lewis estimated that about 90% of the missile's design draws from existing components, with only minor new elements integrated. Western specialists highlighted that although the missile's hypersonic kinetic energy warheads could cause localized damage, their overall military effectiveness when armed conventionally remains limited. The costly nature of the system and its limited physical impact suggest that Russia primarily uses it for strategic signaling rather than battlefield utility. CSIS and Chatham House experts reinforced this view, emphasizing the missile's symbolic role. However, there are concerns that adversaries might misinterpret Oreshnik launches as nuclear strikes, given the missile's MIRV payload and range capabilities. In early August 2025, reports emerged that Russia is exploring overseas deployment options for the Oreshnik missile system. Military commentator Alexander Stepanov suggested that bases in Venezuela and Cuba could extend Russia's reach into the southern U.S. and Caribbean regions. Stepanov also projected that Russia's production capacity could yield dozens of units annually, enabling widespread strategic coverage and possibly facilitating technology transfers to allies like Iran, North Korea, and China, none of which currently possess comparable missile systems. For context, the U.S. maintains significant missile production lines, with Lockheed Martin producing up to 60 HIMARS units per year and the Department of Defense ordering numerous Tomahawk missiles and Typhoon launchers for NATO forces. The deployment of Oreshnik in Belarus forms part of Russia's broader strategic shift, including revisions to its nuclear doctrine and security agreements with Minsk. A late 2024 treaty between Putin and Lukashenko granted Belarus extended Russian security guarantees and the potential deployment of tactical nuclear weapons, with Belarusian officials claiming several dozen such arms have already been stationed there. The updated Russian nuclear doctrine permits the use of nuclear arms in defense of Belarusian sovereignty against conventional threats. Official statements from Russia's Foreign Ministry and Defense Ministry confirmed that self-imposed restrictions from the INF Treaty are no longer observed. Analyst Vasily Kashin indicated that future Oreshnik deployment locations will be chosen based on operational criteria, likely focusing on northern and southwestern Russian regions near NATO borders. He referenced Cold War precedents, including the deployment of Pioneer IRBMs in Chukotka with coverage of parts of the continental United States. Overall, Russia's ongoing deployment and production of the Oreshnik IRBM reflect a significant shift in its missile strategy, signaling an expanded role for intermediate-range ground-launched missiles in its military posture, coupled with a focus on geopolitical signaling and strategic deterrence.